Welcome to the Arts in Westchester. Today we are celebrating a wonderful release of a new CD called Kaleidoscope. 3 people will help us understand that work. Eventually we'll speak to the composer, but I have with me Irena Portenko, pianist, and Sergei Kvitko. I just learned his name a little while ago, so you'll excuse me for that. But welcome, welcome, and I'm so delighted you're here. I know you've come in from Michigan for this very important program.
Of course.
So Irena, let's start with the genesis of this project. How did it start? How did it begin?
First of all, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much. This work was born in 2005. Israel Kremen wrote this work and dedicated to his wife. And later, many years later, I didn't know who Israel Kremen was, but we have one common friend. Her name is Svetlana Gorokhovich, and she's a wonderful colleague, wonderful friend of mine, and great pianist. And I know she's also a great teacher because she teaches my daughter. So once we met with Svetlana, and she showed the music to me. She said, I have this music and I think it's worth attention, but I don't know, I do not have time right now. So I would like to ask you whether you could find a minute to look at it and maybe there is a chance to perform it. So at that time I was quite busy with preparing my Chopin Etude concert in Carnegie Hall. And of course I wouldn't have any thought of looking at anything else at that time. But I picked a little bit in music, and it seemed to me very clear what it meant to be, the music itself, the voicing, the lines. I could recognize some characters from even looking at the music. So I liked it from the first sight.
That's wonderful. Can you actually hear the music when you look at the score?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Plus, Israel Kremen is quite precise with what he wants. So while looking at the music, I can see the from the rhythm, from the melodic lines, from the tempi.
At what point did you meet Israel Kremen? Because this was a collaboration with him, obviously.
I met with him months later after actually seeing the music. We were communicated a little bit on via email, but we met when I first time played it for him. It was a couple of months before the actual premiere of the piece, and it was in Westchester Conservatory of Music. We met. It was a rainy Sunday morning. He came to Westchester to celebrate his 60th birthday. And then he decided to hear what I'm doing with his piece, with his baby.
Right.
And when I played, it probably is not going to be sounding modest, but he was very pleasantly surprised with my findings. But mostly, I think he was touched because I really loved his music.
Well, that's marvelous. Yes. Sergei, you are part of the so-called production team.
Yes.
Just share a little bit of your background. You told me you were a pianist, which is well, so essential to me.
I still am.
Yes, you are a pianist. And what other aspect? What do you do? You live in Michigan.
I live in Michigan, and I run recording studio and recording label called Blue Griffin. And I started the label in 2000, so it's about 11 years old. And I produce CDs, only classical. And people come to Michigan from all over the place, all over the world, and record their CD in my studio in Lansing.
One sense is that you're a pretty good recording engineer if they're coming from far and beyond. And we can even put up your website at some point on our film. But what was your exact involvement with the Kaleidoscope?
Well, the first time, and actually I just thought of it, that when Irena came to Michigan to record the 24 Chopin etudes right after her Carnegie Hall concert, and she was recording and we were working on the pieces and recording that, and then during one of the breaks, she says, and you know, I have to play this. And she showed me the score for Kaleidoscope. And I looked, and the sheer magnitude of this work, it's huge. It's so substantial. And I looked through the score, and of course you can hear, you can imagine how it's going to sound, and the complexity of it. And I saw quotes from different composers, and the way the audience interaction is written into the score, it was so unusual and so interesting and so intriguing that I actually attempted to even go to Pittsburgh to see the premiere of the work, but it didn't work out. It was a schedule, so unfortunately. And that's when we started talking about the possibility of recording that.
But you're not saying that the Chopin etudes were a small project.
Well,
in that was negligible compared to Kaleidoscope, because I was happily at the concert at Carnegie Hall, and it was a real bravura tour de force.
As one of the reviewers said, that whoever plays 24 etudes puts themselves in a select company. So it's an undertaking in its own.
But so you were working on the Chopin, and you did the Chopin recording for?
We did, yes. We did it in my studio in
Okay.
Lansing, yes.
And then, of course, it's eventually connected to Israel Kremen. Let's talk a little bit about the music, because this is a program about performance, not only talking. Share with our audience, Irena, essentially the first piece that we're going to hear.
If I may add something,
Please.
Because I'm going to forget, of course, to what Sergei has said. I highly value Sergei's opinion, because he is indeed very modest, but what's inside of this person is it goes beyond imaginable. He's a wonderful musician, and his ears are one of the most wonderful radars that can pick such subtle things that one cannot even imagine. So that's why showing Kaleidoscope and showing a little bit of this work to him was, in a way, a little bit intimidating, because I was waiting for his reaction to be at the range, the rainbow range, you know, and I think his reaction was quite positive.
That's great.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
now our first piece.
So, yeah. The first piece opens the set, and I would like to say that it's like a big bang. It starts with the big seventh chord, and the prelude is it has a little bit of a frantic character, and the fugue is more thinking, more pensive, and rather philosophical.
And how many pieces are in the whole series?
There are 25 pieces with 2 pieces in each set.
Okay.
Yeah.
So obviously we're not going to hear all of them, but now we're going to hear the very first part, the first piece in C major from Kaleidoscope by Israel Kremen.